Episode 56 of our horror movie review show, I Know What You Watched Last Week. This time I've picked 3 movies from 1989. That's why I picked, because I pick every single week, because I'm the man and I flex nuts.
See, I thought with the first 2 films you were going with a full moon feature special, but then the third one broke that.
I didn't know that the second one was a full moon feature.
Right. Well, without further ado, the first film we watched was Puppet Master. Yeah. Second film was Intruder. And third was Edge of the Axe.
Yeah. So, rank them.
Yeah, I actually thought it was pretty easy this week. For me, bottom place, 100% was Puppet Master. I really didn't like that film. Then second place was Edge of the Axe. And first place does go to a full moon feature, surprisingly enough, with Intruder, which I found very enjoyable.
I was flip-flopping between what was going to be number 1. Bottom, though, is Puppet Master. Second place, Edge of the Axe. First, Intruder. So let's begin with both our bottom pick, the Full Moon feature, and Full Moon's most successful franchise. The original.
Yo, how many are there?
Probably about 15 or something like that.
Crazy.
Something like that. Puppet Master.
Yes. And even right from the opening credits, we had like all these sort of like watery close-up shots of various parts of puppets, and I already was like,
we didn't like that.
No.
Well, I didn't mind that.
I didn't like it.
Well, you sound like you hate this film. I don't mind. I didn't mind this film.
I can see.
There were lots of things that I did enjoy about it.
I can see why people would like it, but it's not my cup of tea, as you might say.
So you don't like marionettes?
I really don't like marionettes. No. But after the opening credits, we get sort of a flashback scene, don't we?
We are taken to 1939 and Bodega Bay, where the puppet master, the toy maker Toulon, is in his room making a new puppet,
Yeah.
it seems. And there are other puppets around sitting by the window. And I thought the opening was really cool. In fact, I thought that the first 20 minutes were really, really intriguing. If we go with Toulon making doing his work in his apartment, and outside of Bodega Bay, we had the point of view camera of this little puppet running through the streets and outside the hotel, being scared of a dog. Then he goes into the hotel and he's kind of like running across a piano and things like this, and he's seems to be quite alarmed at something possibly coming after him.
Yeah, no, I already was like, this is so dumb. You're telling me that this puppet thing that's running around is not noticed by anyone. I mean, he runs past a whole bunch of people once, right towards the end in the hallway, but he goes past...
No, outside as well. A woman's like, shrieks at him.
I'm pretty sure he was only noticed by one person, wherever it might have been. But anyway, he goes past a whole load of people who just don't seem to notice that there's a little puppet running around.
Well, it's 1939. Things were different then.
And I also...
Puppets running around wouldn't have bothered anybody.
I also... Is that so?
It's 1939.
I almost let that slip for a second, then it sunk in what you were saying. I was like, okay, if you say so. I also felt like the camera work was... It was like almost too smooth to really be good point of view. I didn't feel like I was looking out of the puppet's eyes.
Well, I liked it. And I liked his... Even though these puppets don't have any lungs, I'd imagine don't have lungs, and they don't speak, but they do grunt and breathe.
Mm-hmm. And Toulon can understand whatever they're trying to convey.
Well, he's the father, isn't he? He's the big daddy. And while this puppet is making its way into the Bodega Bay Hotel, there are 2 kind of clandestine men, Germans, Nazis,
dirty Nazis,
who are looking for Toulon and his secrets, because they want to use the puppets for their own evil deeds. You told me if I fed Morag that she wouldn't come here and start meowing, but yeah,
I don't
here
know what
she
she
is.
wants now, but anyway.
So now that Toulon knows that these two people are coming for him, he hides all of his puppets. Blade, the one that was running about, he comes back to the room he's let in. He's hidden, but then Toulon sits down and
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I assume he knows that, they're Nazis. They're going to do whatever they're going to do to him.
no, they're gonna interrogate him and make him carry on making puppets so that they can have loads of puppets to.
Yeah, or he's just going to be tortured, keeping the secret in. Either way,
No, because he's got the secrets, so they want to keep him alive so that they can keep extracting the secrets from him.
that's why I said torture.
They wouldn't need to torture him though. It's a bit like Breaking Bad when the bad guys just keep Jesse chained to something so he keeps making the good drugs. They wouldn't torture him because then it would stop him from doing his work. Either way, after this, let me just say about Bodega Bay. We're all gone in.
When, before he offs himself and before he puts his dolls away, he hides them in a trunk in a secret hiding place in the wall, by the way. But before that, when he's still, like, decorating his final doll and he's about to give it life, he's like...
Jester, the one with the 3-part head. Like that one.
He says, "So beautiful." I found them all disgustingly hideous, so that didn't...
Well, this is a full moon feature horror movie, so they're all going to be kind of repulsive in some sense. By the way, Bodega Bay, the hotel,
Yes.
that was a miniature
Really?
about the size of a refrigerator. And what they did was they just found where they wanted to place Bodega Bay. So they found, that place in the cliff outside by the beach.
Yeah.
And they just hung it and used forced perspective to make it look like it was actually there. They had me fooled.
Absolutely. I was thinking, this looks like quite a nice hotel. I wonder if it's still open.
So I was also thinking this looks like a really nice building. But no, it's just a fridge-sized miniature.
Okay, that's crazy.
Yeah, very impressive, and consider this is obviously a low-budget movie.
That's the most impressive part of the film, then, in my opinion.
Almost. After this opening, which I enjoyed and you didn't, my enjoyment carries on. We are transported 50 years into the future being 1989 when this film was made.
The present day.
And we're at a carnival. And we get our first introduction to Dana, who is palm reading at this carnival, and she's reading the futures of some dude and Barbara Crampton, the one and only Barbara Crampton from Reanimator, From Beyond, Castle Freak, all that great Stuart Gordon stuff. So she's a welcome sight for the eyes.
Although brief.
It is brief. This was her only part in the movie, but still, she deserves a mention that she's there.
And Dana is very clearly just making stuff up on the spot. She's a tomfoolery kind of palm reader in this moment until right towards the end.
She's full of hooey.
And she doesn't care by the seams of it until right towards the end when she seems to get some sort of psychic vision that actually
Do you mean
affects
right
her.
towards the end of her
Of her
talking
reading,
to
yeah.
them, yeah,
Not
the
the
end
film.
of the movie, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she comes across all in pain after saying, she's like, oh, and your grandmother is da-da-da-da-da. And he's like, no, Barbara Crampton's like, no, my grandma's dead. He goes, oh no, I meant your grandmother.
Your grandmother won't be long for this world. But, ma'am, my grandma's already dead. I meant your grandmother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved all of the nighttime carnival bits. I love the way it was filmed as well when they're having the to and fro. There's a clairvoyant in Heathen. So I enjoy that kind of thing. Quickly then we move on and we were introduced to kind of our lead of the movie, Alex. And he's having what seems to be a dream of giant leeches on his stomach.
I tell you what he does have is probably one of the worst haircuts I've ever seen in a film. It wasn't, I don't even know what to call it, because it wasn't a mullet, but it wasn't not a mullet. It was just...
It was a mullet cone.
Awful.
I thought he rocked it. He's a guy, he flexes nuts, so here's his hairstyle. So did you not like the dream?
Yeah,
the
this
vision?
is also when we see...
You don't like leeches?
No, I hate leeches. They're disgusting. we see a vision of a man and woman sort of ballroom dancing, and then the man pulls off a mask, holds a gun up to the woman's head and is like, you can't save her. And then he gets the vision of the leeches, and then he wakes up.
We get this vision a lot in the movie.
I think he's like a Yale professor or something.
I love those visions as well. Very, very 80s, the way that it's very cold looking, all the colours taken out of it. And the guy, obviously, in the vision is Neil, who will be introduced to not too long from here. So we also, after meeting Alex and his vision of these leeches and this guy and this girl and this, it's not a ballroom, it's just a giant white room with flowy white curtains. We are then introduced to Frank and Carissa, who are in not a laboratory.
Yeah, well, they're running some kind of test, aren't they?
Yeah, the test being Frank and Carissa sitting down. They have their test subject, this lady laying on the bed, and Frank says something along the lines of, "Now I want you to think of your deepest sexual fantasies and think about every single little detail so that they can try and read what she's thinking." And straight away he's like, "A man, a horse in the rain, running down the beach naked. Are you getting this?"
Wait.
And he's like, "This little girl has a very vivid imagination."
Yeah, this guy was like
pervy Frank.
Really pervy. And what makes
And
it worse
Perv
is
Frank
that...
in Hellraiser. Perv Frank in...
Yeah, maybe Franks are just perverts. But also what makes it worse is that the woman of this couple is his girlfriend, wife. I don't know, but
I'm
they're
not
together.
sure if it's his wife, but they're certainly together, yeah.
So it makes it even worse that he's all like pervy all the time about other women. But yeah, that's all of our characters.
We are now being
then,
introduced
isn't
to
it?
our four main characters, and they are now all summoned
Yeah, they
back
call each
to
other.
the Bodega Bay to use their psychic powers, and they are drawn there by Neil Gallagher, who they all know, and is dead.
Not Noel Gallagher.
They get there, yeah, not Noel Gallagher.
Neil
Gallagher, and his wife Megan is there.
Yes.
Still alive.
So Megan is actually the one who greets them, and she's never met them before, but they ask her. They're like, "Oh, so where is Neil?" She's like, "Oh, I thought you knew. He's dead." Dun dun dun.
There he is in his open casket.
Yes, and they clearly do not like this guy. So when they say they're friends, like I don't really know why they went, but they seem to have some kind of psychic connection as a group, which Alex, I believe, then kind of explains what each of their powers is to the wife at some point.
He does, but not before Dana checks that Neil is actually dead by getting a long, thin kind of needle pin thing and puts it into Neil, and he doesn't move. Nothing happens.
Oh, and they also refer to Dana as the White Witch.
It turns out that Alex had worked with Neil on a project before at university or wherever they were at, and so then after that we keep getting a few more weird "you can't save her" flashbacks, which again I enjoyed. Frank and Carissa have like psychic abilities, and the White Witch, as you say, is Dana, and Alex has visions of the future. Although at first I just thought they were flashbacks.
Who did you say the couple, the woman in the couple?
Frank and Carissa.
Carissa. She, they get to their room, and she gets on the bed, and she starts kind of like moaning in ecstasy and, sexual pleasure.
She's feeling what went on here.
And she's like, "Oh, two famous people, they had a great night on this bed," kind of thing. And her partner, he's just like, "Yeah, okay, whatever, we're here to figure out about Neil." And then later in the film, she's in the bathtub, and she's
we'll get to that. We've already seen Blade in the movie, the little guy with the hat and the blade, obviously. We've also seen Jester, the one with the 3 parts to his head that spin around. And now we're introduced to your favourite, because after we come away from the casket, who comes out of the casket? Little Pinhead with his big arms and hands. Talk to me about Pinhead.
This was so daft.
Do you prefer this Pinhead or Hellraiser Pinhead? Although technically Pinhead from Hellraiser is not called Pinhead, that's just what the public gave him that name for obvious reasons. He's actually the Hell Priest. This is Pinhead because he's got a tiny little head.
It's so stupid. So you see, like, I guess human-sized hands, and they are human hands as well. They're not puppet hands.
It's little person lady.
Yeah. So they have like human hands, big body, and then this tiny, ridiculous little puppet head. Oh god, as we get further into this story, you always accuse me of jumping ahead, so I won't, but this one annoyed me the most.
So now that we've been introduced to Pinhead, your favourite, he's come out the casket, he's now running amok. We don't see him straight away. And Dana, they're all now sitting down to kind of dinner.
Yes.
So Megan, dead Neil, his wife Megan is sitting around with our four, and it's not going very well because Dana is a bit of a
Dana's
bitch.
a bit of a wind-up, isn't she?
Yeah, but she says that Neil screwed them all over, and she wants to get her revenge. It's about now when Alex tells Megan about their powers and stuff like this. Now we've been introduced to the hotel maid. She gets hit in the face with like a fire poker.
By Pinhead?
I think by Pinhead,
I think it is Pinhead.
Funny enough, when this happens though, Neil, he's out of his coffin and just sitting in the chair in the hotel, and we'll see him placed about in the hotel in various places at different times during this, even though he's supposed to be stone cold brown bread. Yeah, that was a bit creepy. Now we get to the bit where I think you're going to get to. We have Carissa in a tub.
Yes, so, and again, she's having her, psychic connection of the past, and she's like, 2 women during the war, they spent their whole week of leave here together in the tub.
Frank, seeing this, really enjoys it, and he also makes mention to Neil's young wife, Megan. He's like, ooh, maybe we could get her in the tub as well. Carissa's not as jazzed about that.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be too happy if you started being like, oh, let's get this chick or that chick.
It's an idea. And now that she's had this kind of sexual awakening in the tub, it is time for Sexual Experiment 517A, which is conducted by Frank and Carissa, and consists of Frank being tied to the bed while blindfolded, while Carissa rides him roughshod. So a pretty good experiment.
Yeah, I didn't understand it though, because he's like, oh, we need to try and connect and figure out what Neil was doing.
Well, any excuse for a
let's
lay.
have sex? Very bizarre. And he ends up being tied up and blindfolded by Carissa, who's, fully in control. And that doesn't end up going too well for either of them, does it?
While this is happening, while Carissa is riding the hell out of Frank, in the little peephole we got little peeping puppets. So first we get Blade, and he seems to like what he's seeing, because he gets zzz, 2 little screws or something come out of the black holes which he has for eyes in his face, and then he moves over, and I believe it might be Jester, Tunneler, I think, looks through, because it's then, like I said, it was a pretty good experiment. Even the puppets think so. They're watching it too.
Yeah, but this was so stupid. So the first death we had of the housekeeper with the fire poker, fine, I can let that slip. That's acceptable. But this is the next death, and
the puppets get into the room. And do you want to take it because you don't seem to like it?
Yeah. So both of the humping couple can hear that something's going on. Obviously, he's all tied up and blindfolded, so not much he can do. But Carissa decides to investigate what's going on. So she gets off the bed and gets down on her hands and knees on the floor and looks under the bed, basically. And did you say the puppet's called Tunneler? His head is like a screw thing. And apparently she can't move fast enough.
Well, he has tunnelling apparatus, like a cone. A rotating cone on his head, yeah.
Yeah.
Made of metal.
And so he puts his head down, runs towards her, and tunnels her to death.
Yeah, tunnels the crap out of her. That's what you get for conducting Sex Experiment 517A.
And in the meantime, whilst she's, offed on the floor, we then get a new doll. The lady. What's she called?
Leech Woman.
Is that... Okay, that's the doll's name. So, a very strange-looking female doll. And again, so not only was Carissa so easily taken down by a little puppet thing...
Tunneler.
We've now got this leech lady.
So while Frank is like still tired and blindfolded to the bed, at the side of the bed pops up at first I thought that Carissa had been turned into a puppet somehow, but because we haven't seen Leech Lady yet, Leech Woman, and Leech Woman comes up and
starts suckling on his teat. And he likes it.
He likes it a lot. He's thinking, I wasn't expecting this from Sexual Experiment 517A, but I'll take it.
Again, I was like, this is so dumb, because you see close-ups of this doll on his nipple with its mouth open. There's obviously no tongue or anything. It's just like a hard little doll mouth. I was like, how is that in any way pleasurable?
Well, this is Frank. This is slimy, pervy Frank.
I don't know what he thinks is going on, but then, he starts complaining that something's painful, and this is like the grossest part of the whole film for me.
You said earlier on that you thought the best part was, when I told you that the Bodega Bay was a miniature. When I said, well, maybe the best part for me is just Leech Woman. That was absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, so this doll's ability, I guess, is that she can regurgitate leeches. So she starts covering him
in leeches, and
disgusting.
I just Leech Woman. I love Leech Woman. I was like, it's just because what the fuck? What the fuck is that? No, who's come up with that? I like it so much. That it reminds me of the movie Slugs, which I saw when I was a kid, which kind of blew my mind because the same kind of thing happens there for a human and a big slug comes out of his mouth. And it got me thinking, I was like, maybe I'm just going to, pay homage to this in Heathen somewhere because I loved it so much. Leech Woman. And it's so good. As I mentioned, there are about 25 Puppet Master movies. During the 80s, Paramount was the overbearer of Full Moon features. I'm quite sure Paramount have nothing to do with Full Moon anymore, but 80s was a different time, and by the time the second one came around, they insisted that the writers kill off Leech Woman, because Paramount hated Leech Woman. They were like, this is disgusting, we want it gone. And that tells you everything you need to know, that a major studio told a tiny studio to get rid of this character because we cannot stomach it. So it's no surprise that before I found that out, Leech Woman was already my favourite. They do manage apparently later on to bring Leech Woman back. I hadn't seen Puppet Master 1 before. I have seen Puppet Master movies, and I'd never seen Leech Woman. So Leech Woman was a big thrill for me. So now we've been introduced to all of them. We've got Pinhead, Blade, Tunneler, Jester, Leech Woman. So who's your favourite? Apart from Pinhead.
Well, I mean, Leech Woman is by far the most disgusting. But I guess Jester.
Yeah, Jester was probably my second favourite one as well. He doesn't really get to do much in the movie, but I just like his creepy.
Yeah, so he's got 3 levels of his head, and they spin, and he gets different facial expressions, which is fun.
So now 2 of our 4 are gone. We now move on to Dana's room. Well, we're outside Dana's room first, and I believe she have the dog at the time?
Yeah, she's got a stuffed dog.
Has a stuffed dog called Leroy. What do you think about the name Leroy for a dog? Do you think that's a good name for a dog?
I don't have much opinion on it, to be fair.
Leroy the dog. Leroy is not a name I've ever heard given to a dog or any pet before. But, yeah, plus Leroy looks a bit like a girl. It's quite a feminine dog, wasn't it? So Dana's outside holding Leroy. She's had a few too many. And, by the way, everyone's been able to hear Sexual Experiment 517A through the walls and stuff. So Dana, she's a bit jazzed by this, and she propositions Alex.
Yeah, she does.
He turns her down because he's a bit of a good guy, straight and narrow. She's a freak. He can sense that he's not going to be able to handle whatever Dana's going to give him. So he says, no, I think we just better get some shut-eye. She goes to her room, and who's in her room?
Neil is there,
Dead Neil in his suit is sitting in her room, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And she's already stuck that massive pin in him first thing. But now she continues with her white witchcraft by taking a couple of rattly things and doing some dancey prayer around him. She's also in the past, been wafting smokes and all sorts of things, to keep everyone safe, I suppose.
So
Not that it works.
she's basically making sure that he is dead. She's making dead certain that even if you're not dead, this will render you brown bread.
She's like, don't worry, Leroy, he won't be back.
But then old Big Arms Pinhead comes and attacks her in the room. She takes quite a beating from old Pinhead.
Okay, I have to go into the details here. So she's standing by her bed. Pinhead comes up behind her, grabs her ankles, and manages to make her fall onto the bed. He manages to get a gash out of the back of her leg or something, which means that apparently she now has to just crawl around because, that's way faster than just hopping. And so keep in mind,
you're liable to, twist your ankle if you're hopping. Your one good ankle was left.
Well, possibly, but still, if you're being chased by a killer doll. And so this puppet is small in dimension, right? It's a puppet.
Well, they're puppets.
Exactly. But somehow she's still just unable to get away from it. Pinhead comes from her feet. She's on, crawling all the way up to her face. She doesn't manage to get rid of him. And he just starts, punching her in the face. It was so stupid. It was so dumb. And then she eventually manages to get herself into the elevator.
Love that elevator, by the way.
Yeah, the elevator was nice. And close the door on him. And then what happens, she looks up. And through the hole in the top of the elevator, is it Blade that comes down?
Blade, yeah.
Yeah.
Not Wesley Snipes. not that Blade.
Little...
It would be much cooler if it was, Wesley Snipes Blade and Doug Bradley Pinhead coming after you.
Yeah, so he finishes her off, essentially. That's her. Dana's done now as well.
Yeah, she's now gone after attacking the lift, and Neil's wife. Now, we kind of move on because everyone's dead, so we've just got Alex left. All of a sudden, he's having one of these visions again, and it's of Megan, dead Neil's wife, taking him up to the top floor, it seems, of the Bodega Bay, and she takes him to the room where he's been having the flashbacks, or vision, should I say, of Neil and the "you'll never save her" visions. Takes her in there, then he wakes up again. But very quickly, Megan then does in real life knock on Alex's door. And she kind of takes him through the whole same thing again, the same journey up to this room. But we also get to see him stop off in another room, and they go through Toulon's diary, where they find out that he used ancient Egyptian techniques to bring these dolls to life, and if they ever fell into the wrong hands, it would cause havoc. And this has been what's been happening. And we're taken to a dining room, and Neil is now fully alive. He's no longer just sitting there in people's rooms and stuff like that. He's no longer in his casket. He is up and about, walking, talking, and he has the rest of the guys. He's got Frank, Carissa, and Dana sitting at the dining table with their... cut throats and stuff like that. That was a cool vision, I thought. The dead bodies around the table, ready for dinner.
Yeah, as far as my enjoyment of the film, this point, once Neil is alive and we get more of the human kind of evil versus the puppets, that was when I started to enjoy it a lot more.
But it was right at the end.
Yeah, exactly. But it was the puppets that just I couldn't get over. But also in Toulon's diary,
Neil was kind of freaky.
Yeah, he was.
Thought he was good.
But in Toulon's diary, he also said that the inanimate objects that you give life to end up taking on sort of the personality traits of their master. So he says in the diary, he's like, so I'm not worried with me, because I'm a nice guy kind of thing, but I am worried
Toulon.
Should they fall into the wrong hands. And clearly, we've also been given little clues throughout the film that Neil essentially married his wife
Megan,
so that he could get access to the hotel, because he knew Toulon was there, and he spent ages renovating, which is code for him looking for the dolls and all of this, and he eventually found it, and he's now figured out Toulon's secret, how to do it, and the dolls belong to him.
In the visions of the "you'll never save her" upstairs, and in the dining room, what do we have? My favourite, candles everywhere. You cannot beat candles in the background. So Neil brought himself back to life using the techniques that Toulon had come across, and he is now the puppet master. But puppets don't want to be.
No, he says some rather rude things about the puppets, and we get Jester, for example. His head spins, and he's like, he's not very pleased to hear this. But
He's shocked.
There are a lot of things that in this ending now that don't really make sense. So Neil said that he had to kill himself to bring himself back to life because it would make him kind of almost immortal, right? He's like, because Alex is like, oh, I could get rid of you. He's like, you'd have to completely destroy my body to kill me. But then having offended these puppets of his, whilst he's trying to off Alex and I assume his wife as well, yeah, that's it. He keeps beating up Alex and being like, it's time for you to die and be reborn. The puppets are then like, no, actually, we decide like we don't like you very much. So they start attacking him.
This bit was good, I thought.
Yeah, it was decent.
They
And
get him in the lift.
his reaction's a bit more realistic. For example, when Pinhead comes to, beat him up, he just kind of grabs him at arm's length, which
Chucks
is
him.
way more realistic. But then there's just too many of them, and
He's trying to climb up into the top of the lift through the panels, but then Blade's there.
Yeah.
And Blade slices his fingers off.
Yeah.
And if you notice, when Blade slices Neil's fingers off, he has green blood.
Yes.
And apparently this movie was going to be given an X rating, not even 18 or rated R, was going to be given an X rating if that was red blood.
You were
So
joking.
they had to change it to green, yeah.
Oh, I just assumed it was because, to show that he was already dead kind of thing, and he's...
I thought that too, but
That's
no.
so strange.
Now he's on the floor with no fingers.
But either way, there is a little bit of a struggle, but it didn't seem that hard to kill him. So I was like, why did you kill yourself in the first place if it's...
Well, it run out of money. We've got to finish the movie. We've only got, $400,000 or something. So yeah, he's on the floor now. He's had his fingers chopped off. Tunneler starts tunneling into him. We've had Pinhead come back and he starts smashing him with his giant fists. And of course,
Leech woman.
who comes and instead of throwing up a bunch of leeches, just one giant leech.
It's
she
so gross
throws
even
up
when you're doing that and no leeches.
and puts on to Neil. So yeah, he's really been taken apart. He really is. And
also, Alex
that's the end
seems
of
to
him.
be almost like
he's trying to
save him. He can't get through the grill of like the elevator protection thing. But I was like, why?
Yeah, the wrecker.
He was shit when he was alive. He's shit when he's dead. I was like, why are you trying to save him? Honestly,
Well, Alex is a really good guy. He doesn't want to see anyone die, even though he's just been punched in the face multiple times by Neil and told his diabolical evil plan. Yeah, I would have let him die. Personally, I would have let Neil die. I was like, yeah, I'm glad he's locked away. I'm glad these puppets are now taking him apart. So now this is all over, and Megan, says goodbye to Alex at the door. We're all done here. Bon voyage. He walks off, but then Megan starts walking up the stairs with Leroy the dog, who is now animated. She was the real puppet master. Yeah? That's what I'm getting from it. She was the real diabolical plan behind everything. You get that from the way it's filmed, you get that from the music, and the fact that now Leroy is alive. She's got the power.
Yeah, she clearly does have the power, but but what was the point?
What was the point?
What's the point of her having it?
Well, that they were all duped because they all thought that it was Neil.
Yeah, but why was she doing that then?
There so that she could gain the ultimate power and get rid of all these people who might come after her.
But she leaves Alex.
Because he's a good guy, I've already said this. Alex ain't going to come back. And if he does, she'll just, play nice again and maybe they'll...
I don't know. I think there's a lot of plot holes, and
I thought the beginning was really
I
good.
didn't
like
like
I
the
said,
way the puppets were moved.
The first 20 minutes I thought were really good. I thought the ending was good. I liked the whole vision of Neil in the room with the gun and Megan saying you'll never save her. But yeah, once it gets to the hotel, unfortunately, that is the worst part of the movie. So the movie starts like this and goes like this, much like Tunneler, and then kind of comes back a bit at the end. But the whole basically the 40 minutes in the middle weren't up to much. And I feel like I could have done more with the puppets as well.
Yeah, it just really bugged me, the little things like when the puppets climb onto the chair and stuff, for example. It was so it wasn't well done, in my opinion.
So you only enjoyed Pinhead?
I just didn't think they were controlled or moved particularly.
A lot of people say that
well.
number 2 is better. So are you looking forward to number 2 out of the
Oh God, we have to watch
40,
number 2?
40 movies? Or maybe, well, it might come along on I Know What You Watched Last Week at some point. Not anytime soon.
Thank goodness.
But it will come, I'm sure, eventually.
So, I think we're done with Puppet Master. What? Edge of the Axe.
Number 2 for both of us, yes. Edge of the Axe, which was the last film that I selected for the 1989 selection. Because I'm the man, and I make all the decisions, because I flex nuts. So, Edge of the Axe. This was almost number 1 for me. I thought it was pretty good. A decent slasher film. If you're into horror, who's not into slashers? If you like horror. And this one is better than, a large percentage of ones that I've seen before.
I didn't not enjoy this one. But there was a moment in it where I was kind of like, I'm tired. Is this movie done yet?
You were just tired. Opens Edge of the Axe in the daytime. A lady is in her car and she's getting her car washed at the car wash. And then we get our first glimpse of the killer in his plain white mask, which I thought was quite effective. And he axes her.
It's kind of like a bald Michael Myers.
Yeah, it is quite like Michael Myers. And after this, that's the introduction to the movie. We then get the credits start to come up. And what was confusing me was I'd already checked previously who directed this movie. And it was one Jose Ramon Larraz, a guy from Barcelona who made horror and erotica. But it said directed by Joseph Brownstein. I was like, who the bloody hell is Joseph Brownstein when he's at home? So it turns out that the cool name of Jose Ramon Larraz, he wasn't satisfied with that, so he thought he'd change his name to Joseph Brownstein for, I guess, Western audiences. And I was like, what a crap name.
That is a really weird thing to change your name to. That's not...
Yeah.
That's not... Okay.
I guess if you're going for erotica, Jose Ramon Larraz is probably the one you go for. Maybe you wanted to separate from his erotica and his horror.
Yeah, but
Brownstein
who
horror.
Who would choose Brownstein for anything?
Larraz erotica.
It's quite a boring name, Joseph Brownstein.
It sounds like just some guys like trying to sell me, kitchenware or something.
It just
like
kind of
this.
reminds me of when Joey in Friends is trying to find a stage name, and it's like Joseph
So
Brownstein.
after the disappointment of seeing what Mr. Larraz has changed his name to for Western audiences, I'm much more inclined to see a movie as well by Jose Ramon Larraz than Joseph.
You clearly enjoy just saying that name,
Brownstein.
don't you?
And we are now introduced to our main character, Gerald, who's biking along. And he's talking to this old geezer outside his house, and he's excited about his new computer being delivered. His new computer from his 1989 computer, probably 1988 when it was actually filmed before it came out. And yeah, he's excited about his new computer, giant thing.
Yeah. Watching this in the modern day, there were a lot of really funny things that they say, considering, I guess this kind of technology was relatively new to them. So they... But I'll mention them as they come up. Carry on.
So after we're introduced to Gerald, we're then taken to a house very quickly where some people have some pigs. Mm-hmm. And the two people are in their house and they hear some kind of commotion outside, and the killer has gotten into the pig pen, taken a pig apart, and placed the pig's head on their bed. The couple...
A la The Godfather.
At least, yeah, kind of. the couple, at least the guy goes and complains to the cops, and... Wouldn't you believe it? The cops are not interested.
Yeah, I didn't understand that already. He's like, what, so just because there was a guy around your house, you want me to, investigate this? And I was like, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Someone's broken into your
house. The cops are
house.
something like, if I had to go and investigate every
off.
time someone goes and kills an animal, I wouldn't have any time left on my hands.
It's not quite that, though, is it? It's not really what he's complaining about. But
it's
anyway.
more the threat of it, yeah, of course. It's the threat of it. So, already I don't like this killer because he's killing animals, beheading pigs.
Yeah.
Now, I'm like, do what you want to humans. Leave the animals alone. We've been introduced to Gerald. After this sinister beginning, with the pig head on the bed, we're now getting to the more light-hearted portion of the film, and we've got Gerald driving along in a truck, or being driven along in a truck by his the best friend Richard, who I'll call Richie, and they're on their way to a bar in the middle of the day. It seems like it's really early in the day. Like everyone, it's almost to me like the way the road was. Everyone was just getting out of lunchtime for work or something like this. You know, it's like midday.
So the guy Richie owns an extermination company,
that's it.
and he's been called over.
Doesn't
to the
do
bar.
much exterminating though.
Well, like once in the whole film, but he's been called to the bar to investigate a strange smell. That's
but
why.
On the way, we're talking about. Are you talking about when they go to this little barn thing first and the body comes out?
That's the bar. That is the bar.
That is the bar. Okay, I thought it was a different place, but
No.
I'm talking about the light-hearted portion of the movie when Gerald and Richie are in their truck. What we get is Richie complaining about his old but rich wife, Laura. So he's married for the money, but he's not too happy about having to get with older vagina.
Yeah, basically. And also I thought it was funny because he's like, I married her for her money. And I was like, but you're a one-man exterminator. Like, how much money does she have? It seems like not really strong enough reason to marry someone you're not into.
Yeah, and it's not like Gerald is saying to him, oh yeah, man, you should, go out and play the field. He's kind of saying, well, you married her. You stick with it. But then they quickly reminisce about their most recent time at the bar and this sweet young thing called Maria. And Richie's made up a song and it's, Maria, Maria, you are so sweeter. I wanna play with your tita. Do you like that song? And then you had kind of like Gerald next to him, like doing the call and response. Yeah. Maria, tita, sweeter. Maria, Maria, you are so sweeter. Play with your tita. That's quite good. It said you should get out of the extermination business and get into like the jingle writing business.
Well, this actually is when they're on the way to investigate the smell.
The
at
smell.
The bar.
And when they pull up outside.
But they mention that this Maria girl is gone. So I assumed that she'd, left town, but apparently she'd just disappeared.
Maybe someone from out of town really liked her titas.
And they're also joking that, the bad
she's
smell...
so sweeter.
Bad smell's probably coming from the chef or whatever. But, yeah, they do go there.
And they get up outside the bar. And there is a lady, I believe, called Susan, who starts approaching their car.
Are you not thinking about a later time when they get the fishing place?
That's why I said to you, they're going to a bar. And I said, were you referring to the bit where the body swings down?
Yeah, that happens way before they meet.
Yeah, so basically they go to the bar and the body swings down, which is the smell. Right? Let's get that out of the way. I want to get back to the tita.
But that's Maria.
Okay, Maria's dead.
So that's what I was saying. I thought that's what you were leading up to.
Wait, so that disgusting body was young, sweeter Maria with the gorgeous tita?
Yes. So
because it looked more like something that Leatherface had killed 25 years ago and just left to rot.
So this hot young thing that they were singing about had been working at the bar where they were now going to investigate a smell, but she was no longer working at the bar. She hadn't been for a while. And they discover the smell coming from a storeroom under the floorboards. They open the floorboards and down falls her decomposed body.
Yeah. Now we've got that bit out of the way.
Yes.
We can get back to Gerald and Richie driving to the bar/restaurant/bait shop, you said, right?
Yeah, some kind of fishing shop.
But they're there for the beers, obviously. So they pull up outside. I'm going to call it the bar. And they've already discussed Gerald having an older wife and stuff. They've already discussed the sweet Maria. Now they spot Susan, and Richie's like, oh, she got some bodacious tatters. And they're like, Gerald's like, oh yeah, man, she is a stone cold fox. So then Susan, with her bodacious tartars, comes to the side window of the car, of the pickup truck. They order 2 beers.
She's also clearly a feminist because she's not wearing a bra.
Hey, burn the bra. I agree. Let those tartars, those bodacious tartars, live free. Live free or die hard.
Oh my gosh, carry on now.
And they order 2 beers. 2 beers. And Richie's like, hey, when our beers come, before our beers come even, you get out of here so that I can work on bodacious Tartar Susan. So he does. Gerald's like, fine. He gets out. As he's getting out, he catches up to Susan, and he informs Susan wrongly that Richie has a plastic leg or something like this. So she eventually goes to give Richie his beer, and he's kind of like shining her on. She's like, "Oh, but what about your accent?" He's like, "What accent?"
Yeah.
Yeah, and then she also says to him, because he's in I think he's actually
He's in his
in
wife's
Susan's
car,
car, not the
yeah.
pickup truck at this point.
Susan's?
And, sorry,
His
not Susan.
wife's.
Yeah, his wife Laura, and she's like, "Oh, I recognise Laura's car, but I didn't know that she had a son." He's like, "I'm her husband."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, Gerald's gone inside to the bar area.
And he's playing the Alien, not the Alien the movie, just an arcade game called Alien. It's like Space Invaders.
Oh, I didn't even notice what the game was, but
Yeah.
yeah, and Susan's younger sister is fixing a lamp.
Lillian.
Lillian, yeah. So the two of them get to talking.
Two of them get to talking, and she then challenges him to a game of Alien. She bets him there's absolutely no way that he can beat her at
She's a gamer.
Alien. So Laura now turns up somehow, because we cut from this, and Laura is now
I think the
old lady Laura.
I think the reason that the two guys were there was for Richie to pick up his wife, who was
Right.
out on a fishing trip with the owner of the establishment, who
I
is
was
Susan and Lillian's dad.
I was distracted by the talk about Tartars that I didn't realise
You were distracted a lot, clearly, in
why
this film.
Laura was there, because the
But
next thing
also,
we see,
this film, like all those things, I think you kind of put them together afterwards. It's not that clearly explained to you, so
No.
I'll let you
we get
off on
we
that.
now. So the reason you was saying they had to pick up Laura, but he got blindsided by bodacious Tartar. So now he's doing what he actually meant to do, was pick up his old wife Laura. They're driving back now, and Laura is giving him the old business, because she's like, "I don't really like it when you're talking to younger women."
And then he's like, "Well, you were with the fisherman guy,"
Yeah,
and then
Nebs or something like that.
and Gerald's in the back, just like pretending to read his magazine, but secretly loving this catfighting going on. Yeah.
So we have to say Gerald has met Lillian in the bar, restaurant, bait shop, and he has promised to show her his new computer from 1989, because technology really gets Lillian's crank turned.
Yes, and she does come over to check out this. Were you going to say something else first? No, to check out this computer, and it turns out that he's also got an older model, which is kind of defunct now. He doesn't
You can
need
have
it.
this.
So he's like, "Well, hey, how about I install this one in your house?"
She's asking a lot of computer questions.
Oh yeah, and then this is one of the funniest things. First off, that, as I said, has aged in this particular way, because she goes, "Wait, if I have this one at my house and you have your computer here, does that mean we can communicate with each other anytime we want?"
Yes, that is what it means.
Imagine having to ask that, like that's not a normal thing.
Either then she asks, "Can I type in some questions to this computer?" Or Gerald's like, "Go ahead, type in some questions." So
That's one of the first thing he says. You can be like, you can ask the computer anything.
So she types in this question we're not privy to. And then he's like, "The computer's not answering it. What did you ask?" And she's like, "I asked if you were gay." And then they both chuckle and have a smooch after this fantastic joke.
Yeah, so her asking the computer if he's gay, and the computer saying insufficient data, apparently is a bit of foreplay for them.
So then after all this kind of like booby talk scenes and stuff like this, and talk of older women, we finally get back to the horror action. And there is a lady in a bar called Rita. She's kind of a foreign lady. She's got a foreign accent.
Yeah, she did.
She gets a call at the bar, restaurant, bait shop at night time. The place is really happening. It's popping off.
It was probably the only place in the village.
Yeah, the only place in the village. So someone's given her a call, and they've called. I was like, someone's given her a call. Is it someone that she knows who's just said to her, "Oh, let's meet up for the first time ever"? Because she then quickly says, "Oh yeah, I'll be there in X amount of time." Puts the phone down, so we see then Rita walking through like the train tracks, and she's in this kind of like, no, it's not an alleyway, it's just a abandoned area.
She says on the phone, because clearly the person's asked like, "What are you doing?" And she's like, "Oh, nothing, waiting for your call." Right? So she was expecting this person to call.
Exactly, like I thought she knew them or something like that.
Yeah, I agree. And then, what you were going to say when she's walking through this deserted part of
town at night. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we get the first kind of example of the violence and the killing in this movie. So she turns up alone, Rita, and she turns around and sees this figure standing there. She's like, oh, hello. But then the figure then pulls out the mask, puts the mask on, reveals the axe, which is its weapon of choice, starts running after Rita, corners her, and obviously starts axing away at her. But my God, it was quite brutal.
There was so many axes.
It was done, I thought, incredibly well. And every time that the axe hit,
I thought it was a little bit comical just because of how many axings there were.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It was non-stop axing.
So this again, I won't reveal it, but I liked the twist at the end of the film. But this is one of the things where I'm like, it doesn't quite make sense to me. So Rita, as you said, she seems to know the person. She's waiting for this person's call. Mm-hmm. And also, we didn't mention, she gets a bit spooked when she's going to this meeting because she thinks someone's after her.
Maybe the person had like a Ghostface style voice changing box.
Well, no, because then when she stops and looks at the person and she's like, oh, it's you. Have you got a cigarette? I left mine at the bar. So clearly this is the person that she was there to meet.
I like that.
And then the killing happens. So I'll come back to that when we round up and reveal the twist, because that doesn't make much sense to me.
The axing ruled.
And then we get
pretty
the next
brutal stuff.
Oh, and also we didn't mention that sheriff that we said
about to
before.
get into the sheriff.
But he's also said something previously. So when they found Maria,
so sweet with the tita,
stinking up the bar,
not so sweet anymore,
and the coroner took her away, the sheriff is like, oh, what a place to off yourself. And they were like, well, we don't know she did it herself. And he's like, nope, I won't have a murder on my record as sheriff in this town. She offed herself, and I don't want you to examine the body. So he's a wrong-un. Mm-hmm. And we then, I'll let you carry on, but then after Rita's offed, we get him again.
After Rita's offed, yeah, we get the sheriff. And the whole reason I said when Rita's on the phone, I just assumed, she's meeting a friend or whatever. But it turns she gets phone calls because she was a hooker. So when the sheriff is walking along with his deputy and some other geezers there as well.
Yeah.
Sheriff is like, well, she charged $100 per lay. She wasn't cheap pussy, but she was worth it. And then his colleague's like, man, you had that? And he's like, no, my government pay won't allow me for such luxuries. It's like, so there's no pussy for pay when you're a simple lawman. I've got to imagine in 1989 as well, $100.
That doesn't seem like a lot to me.
It's more than $100 now.
Yeah, but
Rita, but she's got to rake in the money. You can't just be like, oh, 1,000.
And also, actually, the sheriff goes to talk to I think he must be a carpenter because he's in the church doing some carpentry.
He works with wood.
And turns out he was in Rita's address book.
Oh, yeah.
Because he had, in fact, used her services once previously.
And his wife's getting suspicious.
Yeah. He's like, I met her with her once, and then, she thought she could blackmail me, and I never wanted to see her again.
Yeah, that'll teach her, married men. If you're going to, pay for vagina, it's only ever going to get you into trouble.
So
only do it if you're single, is the law. The moral of the story there.
So they are chasing up. I think the sheriff is finally accepted because he tries to say as well that Rita was like, oh, maybe she was drunk and she fell on the train tracks, and the guy's like, no, she's got slash marks, not crushed by train.
Yeah, she's been annihilated.
So finally the sheriff has to admit that there is there's a killer on the loose. Yeah. So
that's one fine piece of pussy just out of the town. And we've two now. We've lost Rita, and we've lost fine Tita Maria.
Yeah.
So this town is being decimated.
And Lillian as well is part of a choir group at the church.
Yeah, but we're not there yet either. We also get now Richie boy, who's married to old Laura. He's met Susan at the bar with the bodacious tartars, and now he's taken her out on a boat.
He's like, show me your favourite spots.
Yeah, he's clearly using his rich... Because also mentioned that... Not only, I probably did mention it. Laura's not only old, but she's also rich. So he's using his wife's boat to take out more age-appropriate dates. And this was a nice setting. I thought actually everywhere they were was a nice setting. Like even when they're driving through the town, the giant trees and stuff like that. I think it might have been Big Bear, California, or something like that.
It was very nice.
It was really nice, yeah. So that was one of the things that really added to the movie for me as well, where it was set. So they're on the boat, and so yeah, what do you think of that?
Well, kind of see it coming. I'm surprised Susan was like going with a married man, but you know, each to their own. But
well, she's probably thinking, oh, I know that Laura is rich. If he divorces her, he might get half of her supposed wealth, and then I can move in. And I ain't got to work anymore.
I don't think so.
Now the killer is back at the pig house.
But we haven't even finished that boat scene because we
go back to the boat. The boat,
do we?
And then it cuts, and then it comes back to the boat. Yeah.
Oh.
But what we want to talk about the head, were you?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. We can finish with the boat bit anyway.
Yeah.
Even though it comes back.
So Richie breaks off their make-out session and is like, "Oh, I have to get back to work," and he tries to start up the motor from the boat, but it's, you know, clogged with something. So Susan goes to see what it is, puts her hand down, grabs some like stringy stuff, and then it's hair from a decapitated head.
You just said motorboat. I wonder if for the $100, do you get also to motorboat Rita? Yeah? These are the kind of questions you have to ask when you're paying, I'd imagine. So, that's Richie Boy on the boat with Susan. In between that, because we do see Richie Boy driving the boat, and in between that, before we come back and we see the head get picked up, we have a bunch of scenes in between it. And we see the killer is now back at the pig house. The guy's not there. The wife of the household, she hears all this noise, starts looking around. The killer comes out of nowhere, axes through the door, and then of course axes her to pieces, and she takes one right straight in the bosom. Pretty graphic axing in this film. I was really impressed by the violence in this. Yeah, I liked it. I really liked it. So after this, back at the pig house, we now go to Lillian is back on the computer, and she keeps asking questions to this computer, and the computer keeps talking back everything that she's saying.
Yeah, when she and Gerald are communicating via their computers, there's like an automated voice that's reading aloud everything they say, and it was so comical.
Yeah, so she managed to get hold of Gerald through her lent computer, the computer that he seems to have gifted her. So now they're on kind of like their first official date. They're in like a cafe or something like this. And we're starting to see the love story blossom. So as a woman, is this what you want to see? Because, you know, I've been given the payback in Ultra Violence with an Axe, talk of Maria's sweet tartars, talk of bodacious boobies on Susan, she's a stone cold fox, stuff like this. Now we get true romance.
You are so dumb.
It's appealing to both genders.
So sexist.
Is the blossoming of the love story what you want to see?
I couldn't care less.
Was this your favourite scene then? Wasn't your favourite scene?
We also find out some more important information.
On the date you're still talking about, yeah, good.
Yeah, because, well, we actually earlier found out in passing that Gerald has only been there for like a year or two. He's not actually a local.
Mm-hmm.
And she comes back to help her dad out in the summers, and she's going off to like college in the fall or something. And she reveals to Gerald as well that she had been put in, like, taken to hospital or something. She'd been seen by loads of doctors, and then her dad took her out of that, stopped her medication and all this, and she feels much better now. She
also asked Gerald, why do you have a list on your computer?
So when she's trying to contact him on her computer, somehow she gets hold of like his files or something, and a list of all the murder victims
in the town.
Are up on there.
The sleepy town.
Which she's like, why have you got that? It is a bit weird.
After this date, it's after this date now where Lillian, not straight away, but it cuts to the choir. And you loved the singing in the choir, didn't you?
It was terrible. These girls could not sing.
They couldn't sing, but there's a guy called Father Clint, I believe his name is, and there's a lady who's kind of conducting the choir. And then Lillian comes and joins the choir. And outside, he's got Gerald next to his motorbike, kind of looking up at the church. Is he feeling the pull of Jesus?
Well, he seemed quite scared of the priest when the priest comes into the cafe where they're having their date.
Well, when you read about what priests have been doing throughout time, he's right to be scared of him.
Yeah, so they've kind of been painting Gerald slightly more and more as a suspect,
Red
considering
herring,
this list that she finds, etc. And then the next one that they kind of seem to indicate is another newcomer to town who's involved with this choir. I'm not entirely sure how, but I think he was called Christian or something, and he's got like the tash.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
he helps with the music.
Yeah. Also, Richie's kind of painted because he's always like, oh, I'm going to be out of town. So every time like a murder's happening, he's previously said, oh, I need to be out of town to do my exterminating or whatever like this. So it's kind of planted on a lot of characters that it might be this person, might be this person, might be this person. So you've already covered the entire boat beach scene with Richie and Susan, and they find their head. Richie boy now comes back, and he comes and sees Gerald, his friend, and he talks to him about what he's found. And he also met a thingy bob. Gerald then asked Richie, how are things with Laura? He's like, they couldn't be worse. They just couldn't be worse. Plus, I think she's having an affair with Nebs.
Yeah, who's the Fisher guy,
Yeah.
who's Susan's dad and Lillian's dad, yeah.
But Richie boy is hanging on in there probably for the sweet cashola.
But like you said, why doesn't he just divorce her and get some of the money?
He's not that smart, I guess. I don't know. I don't know why, actually. I don't know why he's not divorcing her. Maybe it's too early still. I don't know. Has it been mentioned how long they've been married?
Or maybe in the 80s they still didn't have that kind of, man gets the money thing.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Now, as I already mentioned, painting him as a red herring. So Richie, after this conversation, says again that you have to go out of town. So he has to leave out of town. And also painting that Nebs is somewhat of a suspect, like you said.
Yeah.
And we've mentioned the choir. So at the choir, there was a choir lady.
Yes.
We now go to her house. She's come home, and she's like kind of like setting up dinner.
Yeah.
Something like this. And she's made soup, like a clear broth or something. And there's these drips of blood coming through the ceiling into her soup. As she goes and inspects it. And once again, I've already mentioned previously that I don't like this killer because it's off the pig. Now it's off the dog. A sweet little doggo.
Yeah.
So I'm not having
Poor
this killer.
baby.
So she then of course she gets axed the shit out of.
Yeah.
The choir lady.
Again.
She really takes it from the axe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Loved that.
And the sheriff obviously goes to the church as well, and he's asking the priest whether he's seen her, and he informs him that he's gone. And then he also is like, well, we've also found another dead body, and we need help identifying this person. And it turns out that person has like the lyrics and stuff, so that's why they've got the priest to go and identify them.
We are now back to Lillian and Gerald talking on a computer, and now Lillian's starting to get really annoying. It's only been like 2 days. Gerald's trying to be like, hey, let's meet up and go out. She's like, I'm depressed and, I've got a headache. But he manages to get her out anyway. And they're kind of like sitting over a lake or something like this. And he's like asking her, why you keep moaning? What's wrong? And she goes into the story about her youth and Charlie and the swing.
Yeah, so she had a cousin who she was pushing on the swing, pushed too much, he fell off, cracked his skull.
He was saying stop as well.
And
she refused.
He got, put in hospital or whatever, and she hasn't seen from or heard from him since. And the only update she gets is from her dad and her uncle, but that's also very minimal. So she's like kind of basically saying that she wishes she knows what happened.
She did some digging on a computer and she found out that he'd been released from a psychiatric unit 2 years ago, and she's been having a dream of Charlie coming towards her with an axe, saying that he's going to kill her. Whereas Gerald is more like, oh, he got released 2 years ago. He must be fine now.
Yeah.
Yeah. After this, Gerald, she just told the story about how she has damaged her cousin Charlie by pushing him on a swing. So next day, Lillian and Gerald are faffing about on a swing. I mean, they're just asking for trouble, aren't they? I mean, this is tempting fate. This is kind of sick. This is sickening.
Yeah, and once they're done on the swing, and he's like, "Oh, let me take you home," and she gets on the motorbike behind him.
Whoa. Yeah. When they're on the swing, she starts pushing him again, and she like her mind frazzles for a second, and she imagines herself as her younger self pushing Charlie on the swing, and she starts going a bit mental, pushing Gerald on it. And again, once that finishes, she starts to freak out again. Like I say, it's been 2 days because she's like, "Oh, I can never get hold of you. Where'd you keep going? You're so secretive." Like I say, it's been 2 days. He's given you a free computer, lady. Relax, okay? Because otherwise, we've already heard, even though 2 of them have been off, that there are multiple sets of sweet tartars in this town. Just ask Richie. She is doolally. She also asks him, after they finish faffing about on the swing, they get on his bike, and she asks him... This is what
I was about to say.
She asks him about a scar on the back of his head.
Yeah.
Again, painting him as a red herring, because he's been leaving town saying, "Oh, you're secretive, I can't never get hold of you. Where's this scar come from?"
He's not very convincing, though, when he's like, "Oh, it's from a motorbike accident," or whatever. So again, it does kind of seem like, oh, wait, is that Charlie? And he's had his skull crushed. You get the idea
that he's hiding something.
Which is also really disturbing, because in that case, we've been seeing cousins, like, making out and stuff.
And again, that's what I thought was happening, because when they're painting Gerald as the red herring, I was like, if he is in fact Charlie, who's only just moved to this town, like I said, a couple of years ago, and we've also been privy to information that Charlie got released a couple of years ago, I was like, this is great. Because not only do we get raw axings, sweet ladies, and their bodacious boobs, we also get some incest.
And it also turns out, I think she's found out by this point, that all of these ladies who are being offed have something in common, which is that they worked at a psychiatric ward.
Funny how they all end up in this one little town.
Yeah. So clearly she's like, well, Charlie must be the perpetrator.
Yeah, after this like crazy scene of her going mental, she's then sitting at his computer sopping wet.
Yeah, she's at his place, at his computer, being let in, soaking wet, and he goes to like warm her up and make her coffee and stuff. But what was the point of this scene for you?
Oh, just that she now suspects him.
Yeah, I think she has for a while, but
now it's clear that she suspects him.
Actually, I think this is also the point when Gerald starts kind of questioning her too, because when she was at his computer, he's like, "Oh, what were you doing?" And she says, "Oh, I was asking about something or other." And he quickly realises when he turns the screen back on that she was lying to him. Yeah.
So now you've got him painting as a red herring because he's vague. She's been lying. You've got Nebs, and you've also got Richie who's constantly out of town. So there's a lot of people in this town who could be committing these crimes. Now we get what I consider to be a random scene, because I'm not sure that it went anywhere. And we've got Richie's rich old wife, Laura, who's meeting with a bank manager. And she's informed that she's gone bankrupt.
Right,
There's no more cash left.
Right, yeah.
No more cashola for Richie boy.
Yeah, I forgot that bit, but then we quickly see her on a date.
Well, hang on.
Don't we?
Look,
no?
I thought you were just going to elaborate on that bit. You keep rushing forward. So after they go see the bank manager, we just said, behind them is a very fetching portrait of the one and only Ronald Reagan. This is 89. I've got to assume Reagan was in charge of America at this time. Reaganomics time. So that was something, that you got Reaganomics, and then she's gone bankrupt. The dream is dead. I thought it was a sign. So not all is bad, though, because she goes to the bar to go and drown her sorrows. And there's interest in her, even though she has no money, from Tash Man Chris.
Well, yeah, they're on a date, aren't they?
Yeah, but he doesn't care about the money. He's still interested.
Yo, she's pretty
he thinks she's a hottie,
by it, which I think is fair enough. And she is a hottie. She is older than Richie, but she's very beautiful. And this Tash man is very not attractive, especially compared to the fact that she has a younger husband.
Yeah, Richie's quite a handsome fella.
He is.
Yeah.
He's attractive. So I was like, why are you out on a date with this guy? Why? And I swear this is the guy who's only been there for a couple of years and is helping out with the church choir as well.
It is, yeah. Chris for the Tash helping the church choir.
Choir.
He then kind of like downs 2 drinks. We see him down 2 drinks quickly, just straight liquor. So then I don't know what she's been drinking or how much, because they're both
he downs her drink.
They're both now
she's
driving home, and he is paralytic. He's like, and of course, she gets into a close call of a crash on the road, so she has to pull over, or is driven off the road, and she gets out. She's trying to wake up Chris. She gets out the car to kind of like wonder what's going to go on. Opens the door, and who's there? The Axeman cometh.
Yeah, this was strange as well, because Tashman has been in the passenger seat at the front. Now she opens it because the indicator lights or something are flashing, so she's like, oh wait, is Tashman awake? Opens the door. Murderer's there with his bald Michael Myers mask. But then later...
I mean, Laura probably didn't want to live now that she knows she's bankrupt, and her only options are Tashman Chris.
Well, she is offed, but then later, this is the bit when the sheriff brings the priest over to try and identify the body, because the sheriff doesn't recognise him and he's got no ID, apparently. But then, at that point, Tashman is in the front passenger seat again. So, once more, how did the murderer first remove and then replace Tashman?
Maybe we should ask Richard Brownstein. If that is, in fact, your real name. So once she's off, like I say, she probably doesn't want to live anymore because she's got no more dosh left. We're now at the crime scene. Sorry, no, Richie is back in town. But before we see Richie, at the crime scene, we've got, again, the sheriff. We've got Father Clint and the deputy. And they're discussing things, what's going on in this town. We've now got like 7 dead bodies here in no amount of time whatsoever. And they come like, blah, 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 blah. And then like Father Clinton's like, well, I need to go home. The sheriff offers him a ride home. And he's like, no, I'm going to decline this ride home. I'm just going to walk because I know a shortcut through the woods. Which again, in my head, I'm like, why would you go walking through the woods at night time when someone's just been off? So again, he's painting as a red herring, but he says to the sheriff and deputy, no need to worry, I'm not alone. Because he is with God. God will protect him on his shortcut journey home through the woods. After this now, Richie is back in town the next day. So again, he's been gone while his murders happened. Richie's now back in town. He's met up with Gerald again, like Gerald's premises. And he informs Gerald that his wife is missing. And there's no more dosh left. He's gone to the bank to go withdraw some money. There's no cashoda for him anymore.
I never really got the Richie as a red herring thing. I got the other ones, but Richie was never a red herring to me.
No, it's certainly implied that he's red herring. He's always out of town. He's constantly out of town when all these things are happening. So where has he been? You know,
exterminating rodents.
You can't contribute for his whereabouts. So at the beginning of the movie, they said like Gerald gets a new computer. And I believe the old man that he's speaking to is probably his dad. Is that his dad?
No.
Whoever he is, this old man at the beginning, he makes mention of, too much technology or whatever, right? We're in 89. Kind of at the dawn of new technology, really. And at this point, when Richie's come back into town, Gerald makes some kind of comment like he's going to need to go back on his computer or something. He's like, man, your brain's going to turn into a microchip if you keep carrying on this way with technology. I was like, wonder what Richie would think about today's world.
Yeah. Square eyes and all that.
I'm in line with Richie, actually. Yeah.
Well, I think it's because Gerald says he's going to go and have a date with Lillian again. And they're going to like play some games, and that's when. Because Richie's pretty pissed off as well. He's like, "What, you blowing me off for a chick?" But
yeah, but then when he gets into the car, he then says, "Have fun." He's a good friend. Richie's a good guy, even though he's been cheating on his old rich wife, who's now kaput.
Who's also been cheating on him.
Yeah, fair. So yeah, there you go.
It's like the Pina Colada song.
Yeah.
And so we know that Gerald's got a date with Lillian, but I don't know how relevant that is. It turns out that Lillian's dad is out of town, so he asks the priest to escort her home.
Much like Sidney Prescott's father in Scream.
Bad parenting. And she ends up... the priest doesn't actually take her home. The carpenter or whoever random guy takes her home. But the point is, she gets back to her empty house.
And she's back on the computer, moaning. I'm scared. Where are you? Answer me. Enough is enough.
Okay, I think you're being a bit harsh. I mean, I would be scared and all of this as well.
I'm going by the previous as well. Where are you? I got a headache. I'm depressed. 2-day relationship.
Well, anyway, so she's in the house alone. It's dark outside, and she starts hearing
House,
noises.
Bar, restaurant, bait shop.
Yeah.
She lives at her place of work.
She hears noises, and she goes down, makes sure everything's locked up, and gets an axe from the garage or whatever.
Yeah.
And she goes back to her room, and we see a booted figure clamber
Sweet
in
boots.
somewhere. Yeah, some very nice boots. And start walking up the stairs towards her bedroom.
Who could it be?
Who could it be? Must be Charlie, right?
Mm.
And she opens the door and it turns out it's Gerald.
But is Gerald Charlie at this point?
We don't know. And now Gerald goes to Lillian.
He's got some info.
He's got the info. He brings up a bunch of data on the computer and
This cutting edge technology.
and is proving to her that she is Charlie.
She invented Charlie, yeah.
As a response to trauma.
Now let's just quickly go back to when Rita saw
Let's.
Charlie / Lillian, and she was like, "Oh, it is
it's
you."
you.
I'm like, nice.
What was she expecting? I don't think so, Johnny.
And a cigarette.
Yeah, see, that's really weird. And also, I didn't actually look at the credits, but I really don't feel like the actress who plays Lillian was the figure in the outfit for all the killings, because Lillian is quite a slight girl, whereas the figure looked quite big.
But to be fair, has Lillian, okay, whether that's I do agree somewhat, but she's wearing kind of like a tent thing a lot of the time as well, so it kind of makes the killer look a bit wider and things like this. Has the killer offed any men?
Just the Tash guy.
Just the Tash guy. Okay, and he was paralytic.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone else is kind of more believable because nowadays you get some 5'3" woman who's like just killing 6'4" men with just ease. At least in this, she's just been offing women.
And it also kind of adds then when you were saying, like, I found it a bit comical. You enjoyed how many like axings. And again, it makes more sense then.
She hasn't got the power to do it in like 1 or 2.
Yeah, so
she
she
has to
just
keep going.
does loads.
But that works for the violence in the movie. You get to see more strikes of the axe, the edge of the axe.
Yeah. So basically, Gerald is explaining to her, she made this up as part of her post-traumatic stress thing. It was her way of coping. So she made Charlie up completely. It's actually just herself.
She's not having it.
And all the people that have been offed, they were either people who were part of, the nurses or the doctors or whoever put her away and I guess took care of her there. But also a couple of the women, I think, she offed because they were trying to get with her dad. Mm-hmm. So apparently that's a reason to off them as well.
That's weird as well, yeah.
So yeah, but she still is like, no, you're obviously lying. And even to us as the audience at this moment, it's still not completely clear. Like, it could just be that he is faking it. And as he's explaining this and she's all worked up, he's like, let's run away together. I love you. We can work through this. You wouldn't think you'd want to run away with someone who's like a murderous psychopath.
I'm pretty sure when he says that, she's already come at him with the axe a couple of times as well. And he manages to calm her down. And he's still like, no, we can run away and be together. Now, I'm all for going after crazy Tang. Not murderous Tang. That's the lesson here, because she then freaks out again and she starts to run out the house, and in the background we can hear the police sirens coming.
Yeah.
And as she runs out the house, it obviously looks like Gerald is running after her and he is the maniac. And as he's running after her, this murderous Tang that he wants
Yeah.
Deputy blows him away with one shot. Once again, the lesson here: go after Crazy Tang. You can't help but go after Crazy Tang because there are ladies that are on pills, and the rest of the ladies who should be on pills. Am I right? You pull this face now, but when I busted this joke out a week ago, you cracked up. So don't sit here all high and mighty.
Yeah, but I know when you're kidding and how you actually feel about stuff, but when, you know, it's on camera like this to people who don't necessarily know you, I have to feel like I have to explain why I married you.
Well, this is an entertainment show. So there we go.
Well,
so
anyway,
don't go after the murderous one because it will get you shot in the stomach.
Well, especially when you're running after her with a weapon in your hands. I mean, I was like, why has he not dropped the axe at least? That was really daft. But anyway, all the questions...
Well, she likes axes. So he's like, hey, I've got your axe. It might entice her to come back.
You're so dumb. But anyway, all the question of like, is she Charlie? Is she not Charlie? Is kind of cleared up right in the final freeze frame.
Well, we get the Damien effect. So they've blown away Gerald, and they think that Lillian is this helpless little girl
victim
who's been victimized. So she's like crying, she's hysterical, and she goes into the arms, I believe, of the sheriff, and she's all hysterical. And he's like, "Don't worry, little girl. There'll be no more murders in this town." But then the camera catches her evilly smiling over his shoulder.
Yeah, freeze frames.
Yeah.
So yeah, she was Charlie. She was Charlie all along. Do you think she genuinely didn't know then? Because she seems quite...
Of course not. She's a nut job. She's doolally. She doesn't know anything. She's been in a psychiatric unit. She's been released. Her parents aren't telling her anything because she can't handle the truth, and it's their fault that they've let their
stop taking the medication.
Yeah, stop taking medication. Their doolally daughter do whatever she wants around town.
You say their fault. The mum's gone.
Okay, his fault.
Right.
I thought this movie was pretty good.
Yeah, I quite liked it.
Well, where was the part where it started to drag for you then? Because I thought at the beginning when it was the car wash murder, I was like, okay, this looks a bit poor. Then it quickly for me just kept like kind of like going like that. Then it kind of plateaued and stayed there. Didn't go back down for me or anything like that.
Yeah, I think it was just the plateau bit, and also because I really enjoyed...
It's because you were tired from all that baking you were doing, all that whisking.
Yeah, maybe. But I really enjoyed Intruder, the next film we're going to talk about. And
yes.
So I think there was...
The numero uno.
If it had been with any other films, well, not any other films, but...
It might have got number one.
Yeah, it would have been better. But there was just a slight point where I was like... Because there was no point during Intruder where I was like, you know, when can I start getting ready for this?
See, with me, because we watched Intruder before Edge of the Axe, I was thinking, Intruder's definitely going to get number one. There's no way it's going to get overtaken. And like I said, and I got in this chair, I wasn't quite sure what number one was because I was really impressed with Edge of the Axe. Consider everybody loves, say, slasher movies like Nightmare on Elm Street 6 or 7, and then Jason 8. Well, Jason Takes Manhattan, I actually love that one. But what I'm saying is, even though I love Jason Takes Manhattan, Edge of the Axe is definitely a better movie than, say, Jason Takes Manhattan. It's just not part of a iconic...
I'm trying to think as well. I really liked the performances.
Yeah, the acting was pretty good.
I liked Gerald.
Yeah, I like Richie Boy.
Richie was good, yeah. Yeah, they're all good.
I like the dialogue, the setting, as I previously mentioned. All good. And especially the axings. What I've realised now is I want to see more axe murders on screen. I want to see more axe murders, and I want to see more leech women.
On screen. Definitely on screen.
More leech women too. So there's two things I want to see. So let's get on now to the number one of the week. Intruder. This was the second film I picked to watch this week because I'm the man. I make the decisions because I flex nuts.
You also repeat yourself a lot.
Intruder. In this, we've got Sam Raimi.
Yeah.
Ted Raimi.
Yeah.
An appearance by Bruce Campbell.
Yeah.
The KMB boys, you know who they are. And Scott Spiegel directing this, who is fake Shemp in Evil Dead. Fake Shemp in Evil Dead 2. He's also in like Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2. He's in Drag Me to Hell. He's in a whole bunch of Sam Raimi stuff. So It's a collaboration of friends. So I'm going to run through this now. Just wait. This all takes place during a night shift in an independent supermarket. So when we're being introduced to the supermarket, we get the exterior shot. When we go inside, the camera's panning, and we go past all of these classic cereals. And I was loving seeing all these like old school cereals, some that still exist, some that don't exist anymore, some which I've never even heard of. And the one that I noticed most was Kaboom cereal. I was like, what the hell is Kaboom cereal? So
One I noticed was Kellogg's cornflakes.
That's about as boring as it
I know.
gets. Yeah, well,
I'm just saying that was the one that was like most obvious to me.
Probably because there's more of it on the shelf because it's a popular product. Whereas Kaboom cereal is now defunct, so I had to look up what the hell is Kaboom cereal. I thought at first they might have just made it for the TV show. It turns out it is a circus-themed, vitamin-fortified cereal with clown-faced oat bits and marshmallow stars. So it's vitamin-fortified with marshmallow. You're somewhat of a nutritionist, personal trainer. You have the qualifications. What do you think of that?
I'm pretty sure all cereals have their like fortified signs on them, and that doesn't make it healthy.
Circus themes on the front. You've got kind of a scary clown.
There's nothing healthy about marshmallow.
And not only did it have marshmallow stars, they later added marshmallow animals like bears, lions, and elephants.
Oh my!
Yeah, so they sure don't make them like they used to. So, considering my excitement for the cereals and particularly Kaboom cereal, we then move on to. I mean, I may have been excited about the cereal, like I was saying, but I was not as excited as our two cashier girls, Jennifer and Linda, who we now get introduced to, and they are talking about their favourite subject, dick.
I thought you were just going to say boys.
They are excited. They're excited about penis, specifically Dave's penis. Women are so dirty. Do you care to explain yourself?
They weren't talking about his willy in any way, shape or form. They were just saying, has he asked you out yet? I heard he stopped going out with Caroline.
No, he's still with Caroline. Do you care to explain yourselves? You have the floor as woman.
This episode is
dirty
just
women.
You being
dirty
man,
women.
you woman.
But yeah, like I said, oh no, Dave is seeing someone else, so she's not going to get that penis. And
well, knowing men, she might anyway.
Here comes Jennifer's old discarded penis, bad boy Greg, and Greg starts bothering Jennifer.
And you can tell he's a bad boy because he's got a leather jacket on.
Yeah. And he's got kind of greasy hair, yeah, but stubble.
He is a bit of a piece of work because he won't. She's like, I can't make this any clearer. I don't want anything to do with you. And he like gets handsy and is like, you can't dismiss me. I love you. And turns out they were only dating for like 2 months anyway.
She must have been real good.
Yeah. So he's like, attacked by her friends who work at the store.
Hang on, again, to get too far. So once Greg is, he's kind of verbally abusive.
Yeah.
And he starts getting quite handsy with her.
As I said, yeah.
Yeah, and then Linda kind of like tells him to lay off, and he's giving her the old like, you F off. So clearly he's not been getting any for a while because he's stressed. But there is good news. His order of a packet of cigarettes will only cost him $1.35, because this is when America was a real country.
I'm so sorry that I jumped ahead and forgot to mention how cheap the cigarettes
Cheap cigarettes, come on. $1.35, proper country. Then it starts to get really physical, and we break out into the worst fight choreography of all time.
Yeah.
Greg and the store staff.
It wasn't great. And we get introduced as well to the 2 store managers.
Bill and Dan.
And one of them seems to be more of the paperwork big boss guy.
Dan.
And Bill is more of the...
Hey, I'm Bill. I'm
friendly
the happy guy.
Manager.
Yeah.
And the girls press the, emergency help button when Greg's getting handsy. And Bill is like, oh, let me go check on the girls. And who did you say the other guy?
Dan.
Dan is like, they're always using it wrong. They're fine. Carry on with the work.
Yeah, Dan's like, they're always using it wrong because they're a couple of dumb blondes, is what I'm getting. Also, not Jennifer, but Linda is Renee Estevez, younger sister of Charlie Sheen, Emilio Estevez, daughter of Martin Sheen. Yeah, she also acts, or did. She doesn't do it anymore. But I love Charlie Sheen.
I know you do.
He loves the Tartars as well.
So all of the staff end up working together to get rid of Greg.
Yeah.
They shove him out, lock the door, and it's just the staff who are there. And then the bomb is dropped on the staff.
Not yet, it's not, because first of all, we then get our first proper glimpse of the one and only, this is a horror show, so we've got to get through the horror, Sam Raimi. So Sam Raimi is in this acting, right? And you got to consider, right, so he's playing Randy, you love that name, because you're filth. Randy the Butcher, he's playing Randy the Butcher, and you've got to consider, right, for the fact that Scott Spiegel was just fake Shemp in Evil Dead. So this is 89, so I think we were 6 years on from Evil Dead, and we're on from Evil Dead 2 as well. The lack of the ego of Sam Raimi to be like, I will absolutely be in your movie, and you can direct me, fake Shemp, stuff like this. And this is what horror kind of used to be, more of a community thing. Everything was way more DIY, so if someone needed a favour, you'd help out kind of like no matter who you were. So that's one thing that kind of jazzed me about this movie, especially seeing both Raimis on there and early work from the KMB lot. So you got, because KMB are the guys that do all the effects work and stuff like that. So when we're introduced to Sam Raimi as the Butcher Randy, the rest, like you say, they are now speculating where Greg might be hiding.
Yeah.
Right, in the store, and one of them says to Bill, the attic, and Bill's like, geez, you mean where I caught you smoking the wacky tobacco kind of thing. And so yeah, it has that kind of classic 80s slasher tone where we've got like a bunch of stoners and stuff like that, even though, like I said, this is 89, so you're right on the cusp obviously of the 90s, but with the wacky tobacco, that's what my dad used to call it. He'd come home and be like to me, you been on the wacky tobacco? And I'd be like, no way, daddy-o.
That's what you said, is it?
and then he would insist, that I skin up for him. So what I'd do is, to stop him from keep harshing my mellow man, I would overload his little bifter, hand it to him, then he would be knocked out. No, he didn't really harsh my mellow. Love you, Dad. So what I was going to ask is, he would also say stuff like, whoa, man, is this a space capsule? I mean, apparently there's some kind of like leftover lingo from, I guess the 70s. My dad would have been saying that stuff. I mean, you've seen the record collection my dad left me.
Yeah, but I also know your dad was British, so did he actually say, whoa, man?
Yeah, because he would put on the accent. He was obviously also taking in like American movies and stuff like this. So what I was going to ask is, what kind of things would your dad say when he asked you to roll joints for him? That didn't happen.
That never happened.
I guess we had quite different upbringings then.
No, so, if anything, when I came home from parties, he'd be like, right, let me smell your breath, make sure there's no alcohol or anything on that.
Disgusting. Yeah. So now we get the big bombshell that you were going to rush to, that Bill and Dan selling the store.
Yeah, everyone's pretty bummed.
Yeah,
but no one is more bummed than Bill. Mm-hmm. Bill's like, hey guys, I used to be a butcher just like you. I worked my way up. Been here 10 years. This store is my life.
Yeah, it's my home away from home. So because they're shutting down, or because they're selling the store, they're putting on a half price sale on everything. I'm thinking, I can get my hands on that half price, kaboom.
Yeah, they're also like, well, no wonder the whole team is here because there's so much to do. And they're like labeling each individual thing. I was like, wouldn't it be a lot easier to just put one big sign saying half price off half of everything marked price?
You can't count on the customers to work out what half of $2 is, and so forth. You've got to put it out there for them. As someone, we've both worked in kind of like retail jobs in our past. The whole thing of the customer is always right. No, they are not. So we get the half price sale, I'm thinking, yeah, Kaboom cereal, Crunch Berries.
Kaboom, kaboom.
I would take that, yeah. Who's that?
Rob Zombie?
No, you failed. So the night staff are bummed, but the ultra stoner guy, Bub, he sees the positives. He's like, man, now I can claim for unemployment. So you got to look at the positives.
This film had both gore, but it had some actual laugh out loud moments.
Yep.
Yeah.
Once all this has been revealed, we then get again Sam Raimi in his little back of the store butcher place.
Yeah.
And he shouts out, "You lost your job, Joe." And of course, Joe.
He's always listening to terrible music on his headset.
He is, but he's also Ted Raimi. So you got Sam shouting out to his brother.
Oh, is that Ted Raimi?
Yeah,
okay.
that's Ted Raimi, who's somewhat an actor.
has a very active mouth in this film. Did you notice that? Always like...
I guess that's what happens when you're listening to the world's longest song. Because we see him at this point listen to a song, and later on it becomes no surprise to anybody that pretty much everyone is off. And when he's offed, another 40 minutes into the movie, he's still listening to the same.
It's not even a very good song. Is
Is
this what you would call a Walkman?
It's a Walkman, yeah. What, you never had a Walkman?
No.
It's not called a Walkman, it's a Walkman.
I know, I was kidding, because just as the previous film was like, oh my god, you're going to turn into a microchip. Walkman's before my time, so...
Oh, the Walkman. Way better than, the iPod.
I think I grew up with the MP3 little...
MP3 player.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're the kind of things that phased out the portable CD player and the Walkman.
Actually, I think my sister still had a portable CD one at one point, but yeah, no.
I had this electric blue Sony Walkman. Oh god, it's a thing of beauty. It really was. Yeah, there's no beauty left in any design anymore. Anyway, let's keep moving on. So once we get this right, so we've had Greg, bad boy Greg, who's been threatening Jennifer at the beginning, and they've all been looking for him in the place and whatever. Once they'll get back to work, putting all the half-price stickers on stuff, Jennifer's also taken a quite threatening call, and there's also a note for her left among all of the items. Yeah, a freaky "I love you" note. It's almost like written in like crayon, almost like if I was writing with my left hand, or I'm right-handed like most people, obviously.
Well, maybe his hand hurts from slapping her.
But there is some good news. Dave is no longer seeing the chick he was seeing, so Jennifer is now in. She gets asked on a date because Dave was going to have a party, and he invites Jennifer to the party. But when she says yes, he's like, actually, let's forget about the party, and it's me and you just spend some time together.
It's tango, baby.
Yeah, and then Dave gets on this kind of like escalator weird thing, which Bill tells him, "How many times have I told you not to ride that thing, Dave?" He's not a hick. That's just me doing a random American voice.
Makes me realise one of the things I loved about this film, which I wrote down in my notes quite early on, was I felt like they really built a believable atmosphere in this place.
Yeah.
I liked the relationships they had. I liked the little habits that they clearly all have in the store. Some of them steal some of the products. I just thought it was done really nicely.
I'm just going to cover one more bit, then I'm going to kind of like circle back to what you just said there. So after this bit, we are now, because we've introduced everybody, but we haven't seen everyone's full personality yet so much. We now have a scene where we're introduced to Bub properly, the guy that's excited about possibly going on to unemployment, and he's talking with, I think at this time, still Linda. And there's a nice angle as well, kind of like the camera is above them while they're talking next to a shelf. I really enjoyed that. And he's talking about Greg, and he's explaining to Linda how he used to be friends. Man, I used to be friends with Greg. We used to hang out, but then he started to do drugs, and then he got addicted, and then he started to treat Jennifer real bad. And I tell you, he almost killed me one time. And if it wasn't for my brother who came along and repeatedly hit him on the head with the blender, it would have been the end of me.
The way you delivered that was so brilliant.
And just the repeatedly hit on the head with a blender.
Yeah, exactly. It was just the weight. But again, I knew that when we explained that on this, it wouldn't quite hit the same note. But
it wouldn't.
You have to watch it because it's so funny, that moment.
It's after this, we're quickly introduced to two cops come. They've been called to the premises to like, kind of be told what's happened. And you get this real bumbling cop who's like, here's my card. No, wait, that's not my card. This is my card.
Let's go.
And then he's bumping into people and all this.
And can't open the door and
Yeah, and so once they leave, what I was going to circle back to was you talking about how they built the relationships between everybody and how they gave everyone kind of like an independent personality. I've written, shock horror, can you believe this? I didn't hate any of the characters, which is all you get these days, is characters that you absolutely cannot stand. Whereas in Intruder, I liked all the characters. In Edge of the Axe, I liked all the characters. People just don't know how to write relatable, likeable characters anymore. It's okay if you're doing it on purpose. Like, say, for instance, in Heathen, there are people that you're going to despise, but also people that you're going to kind of sympathise with. But I feel like if you just Talk to the Hand, for instance, right? Talk to Me. I just hate all of them. And I can say I've used Talk to Me as an example, but I could have gone to any movie really.
Well, last week's review, there were loads of people. I was like, I hated this guy. I hated this guy.
And they were newer movies. So what is it about that? Why doesn't anyone write? Because you just want everyone to die now.
Yeah, they were.
When people were killed in this,
individual, and they were all enjoyable and likable, and also. You've circled back. Now I'm going to circle back to what you just mentioned when he says his funny thing about the blender. That was also the moment when I wrote down in my notes, I was like, they've used so many like creative camera angles in this, because you get that one which is from above. They get ones where like the sweep is like sweeping over the camera. There's just all sorts, like that. He's clearly just been like, I need to try everything I can with the camera angles, and I liked it.
Yeah, when obviously I was noticing that as well, because that's why I brought it up with the whole talk when Bub's talking next to it. And I was thinking to myself, because obviously Sam Raimi is ultra creative with the camera at this point, coming off the back of Evil Dead and stuff. I just wonder if Scott Spiegel, I wonder if this was all, and I'm not for a second saying or suggesting that it's not, but I just wonder if he got kind of maybe just advice or something, possibly, because Sam Raimi's there. You know?
Yeah, also normally, you'd give some credit to the cinematographer. I have no idea.
Yeah.
There's no way to know ever from the credits, really. Because even when you're making a film, even if you have your specific role and it's given to you and you're credited as that, each film set is going to be different. Sometimes the director will have more control, sometimes
you'll be
producer,
overridden,
sometimes.
Yeah. So obviously that's not going to be the case this film. It's so low budget and it's a bunch of friends coming together. So,
but again, like, you don't know how much it was collaborative and how much it was.
I get the imagine this was pretty collaborative, but obviously Scott Spiegel's written this as well. So he's written it, directed it, so he is in complete control. But I was just wondering if there was any input with Sam Raimi, or Sam Raimi was just there to like have the thrill and the joy of just be able to relax and just act. Not act. He's not really doing too much, but again, he's enjoyable in this. And there's something about seeing a director of like infamous and super famous quality movies just being a part of the cast in the film. So once we get to
it also makes you realise how young he is. Like,
exactly. Well, I think I mentioned he was 21 when he made,
which is crazy.
So he would have only been like 27 in this or something like that. Yeah. Once we've now properly been introduced to all the characters, the managers and the staff, pretty much from here is when the killing spree starts and doesn't end. And the first thing we get is Linda, Charlie Sheen's sister, in the parking lot, and she's the first one to go. I believe she just gets stabbed. So it's a pretty, not unimaginative, just your typical stab to the stomach or something like that.
Have we not had already before this as well?
No. Then we have Bill finds Greg.
Right, okay, yeah, that's the bit I was going to say.
Bill finds Greg out. So Bill, one of the store owners, finds bad boy Greg out in the parking lot.
Peeping into the ladies' toilets, I might say.
Peeping into the toilet, yeah. And a fight breaks out. Bill has a hammer on him, but he loses the hammer to Greg. And Bill ends up taking a knock from the hammer to his head.
Yeah.
So that's happened. So we've lost Linda to a knife. Now Bill has been hammered in the head by Greg. And from here, we're watching an 80s slashers here. So what do we want? We want cool, inventive, gruesome kills. And from this point on, the movie is just that. It's kill, kill, kill. So I'm going to go through them, and I'm probably going to ask you, out of 10, how you rate them. So now we've lost these, we now go into the manager's office.
Yeah.
And the other store manager, Dan, is in there. Someone comes up behind him. Someone starts like somewhat strangling him. Dan starts reaching for the tannoy to let the staff members know that something's wrong up there. Next to him, though, I'm not sure what it's called. I've called it a paper nail.
Yeah, I've used them before at work. Even you put receipts on them and stuff when you're done. But
exactly, it's like when I'm not sure if they'll use them anymore, but certainly back in the day, if someone was taking an order in a restaurant, they would like take the ticket, piece of paper, and then they'd put the ticket over this nail, and it would just pile up. So I'm gonna call it a paper nail. So he's being strangled. He's trying to reach for the thing. Killer gets his head and impales it on the paper nail. I'll give that a 9. I think
I liked it a lot. Yeah. I'll say an 8.
Yeah, that is. I haven't seen that before. And also it's inventive to use something that you would actually have in a supermarket rather than just put something sharp there which you can put through his head.
Yeah, because you've been watching him use it previously in the film, so it felt so much. Yeah, it was good.
Now we have Ted Raimi, the produce guy, and the whole time he's had his earphones in, listened to the same song play and play again, and he gets knifed in the head. Yeah,
and it splits his headphones. I liked the splitting of the headphones thing. I thought that was a fun touch because apart from that,
it's just pretty simple.
Yeah.
But I'm going to give it a 7 just because of
I was going to say 7.
Yeah, I'm going to give it 7 because of the splitting of the earphones. Symbolic. You're not around anymore. And that's the end of this song. Yeah. Literally every time we go to him, we have the tune playing, don't we?
Yeah.
After this, we now have a guy called Tim who is in the beer cooler. And he hears someone kind of like faffing about opening door. He's like, man, you can't leave the beer cooler open. As he steps back in, he's stabbed. Big spurt of blood. And behind him is a case of beer. And at the same time as the blood spurts, the beer starts to spurt as well. Because the knife goes
through him into the beer.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give that one a 7.5 because I loved the spurt of the blood and the beer together.
Yeah, I'm going to go 6.
Oh, so not as a... I really enjoyed the bursting beer at the same time. I thought it looked really cool.
I can see that.
Yeah, moving on from there. Poor Bub. Bub, who survived, Greg and his ways. He now gets his head crushed in a hydraulic.
Yeah.
Very, very Terminator. At the end of Terminator, when Linda Hamilton, boop, you're terminated, fucker, and gets rid of the Terminator endoskeleton.
I mean, because they've used the hydraulic press earlier on. Mm-hmm. It obviously crushes all their leftover boxes and stuff. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, someone is going to be offed in that. But it didn't really make it any less satisfying. It was actually also the K&B effects on that. Mm-hmm. I thought were absolutely amazing. Yeah. I loved the effects on that because it wasn't even in my mind, someone was going to be just pushed in and the whole body would be crushed. Whereas, as you said, it's essentially just half the head that gets crushed, isn't it? So you get the jaw is still intact and it's the top half of the head that's being squashed. I give that an 8.
What have I given? I gave a 9 to the paper nail, didn't I? And then I gave a 7 and a 7.5. So yeah, I didn't like this one as much. I love the paper nail. Just because it's a thinner piece just going through is something so wrong about that. But the hydraulic, really cool. 8.5 for the hydraulic. Just give a shout out as well. It's not going to be I know what we watched last week because I don't do movies which are just guaranteed for me to be a number 1 or whatever. Obviously K&B, the K guy, Robert Kurtzman, he directed Wishmaster, which is obviously full of practical effects, some of the best practical effects of all time. So moving on from there, we now see Randy the Butcher, Sam Raimi, meets his end, and he gets hung a la Texas Chainsaw Massacre from a meat hook from the face. Yeah. Hung by the face from a hook.
I was going to say, I rank this one higher because, again, the first thing that comes to mind when you see those meat hooks is TCM. But obviously we know that they get hooked sort of in the back. And I thought this one, when it's right there, and it just, it makes you feel somehow even more like, bleh. So I'm going to go 9.
Oh, so that's the joint highest mark.
Well, it's the highest
Given
I've
so
given.
far.
I've
That's
only given
I'm
an
saying
8.
joint highest. I've
Yeah.
given a 9 so far in this. We
Yeah.
haven't given. Well, only you've given below a 7 so far. I really enjoyed this one as well. I'm gonna give it. I'll give it an 8. 8 because I've seen it before, but still done very well. Plus, it was Sam Raimi, so
Yeah.
he's obviously gonna be loving himself being killed on camera as well. Finally, out of all the night shift people, the last one to go, and this is great as well. Poor old Dave.
Yeah.
He's set up a date with Jennifer finally. Jennifer's not going to get that penis, I'm afraid. She's very excited about that from the beginning. He gets his face sawn in half on one of those. What do you call those saws?
Yeah, I
It's
don't
a
know
saw.
either.
It's a saw in place where you kind of like chop wood in it almost.
We saw someone like halving chicken carcasses with
Yeah.
it earlier and stuff. So a meat saw of some kind.
and again,
but
he's probably taken apart from like here. So
yeah, it goes right down the middle of his head.
yeah,
That was
really good stuff.
That was grim.
Mhm.
I think possibly that was actually the best one,
Yeah.
but because it's right at the end and you've seen so much, I'm gonna give it a 9 as well.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 9. So I'm giving it a joint top. So I like the paper nail and the sawing in half of the head the most. But I just wanted to make a point that all the killings in it's really imaginative. They're not just out the blue, like I say, because it's stuff that they actually use in the supermarket.
Yeah.
And it's all there for a purpose, and they use in a super inventive way. And the way that the people are taken apart is really cool. So now we are just pretty much left with Jennifer.
Yeah.
And she now is kind of walking around and she's coming across
She's starting to realise
all of these body parts. Like you get
Yeah.
like the sawn off body parts, eyeball. She steps on an eyeball.
Oh,
you get the
actually,
severed
we've
hand.
also seen Dan. Did you say was the paper pushing boss?
Yep,
No,
yep, yep.
Dan. We've actually come across Dan. Dan's not dead. That pin through the eye didn't kill him. He's gone and hidden in like an attic space or something. And when one of the other guys is trying to get away, he's like, "Help me!"
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that just the fact that he's had that put through his face and survived is another reason why it got the 9 as well.
Yeah, that's gross.
Yeah, so see Jennifer coming across all the body parts, stepping on eyeballs, seeing severed hands, and then when she's walking around, I believe it's Tim, the guy that took the knife and the beer spurt. She finds him sawn in half, and one part of his body's in one bin, and the legs and stuff are in another part of the bin, and he's got a sign on him saying half off.
Yeah.
Supermarket vernacular.
Yeah.
That was again a nice comedic horror touch with the half off there. Just little things that you notice about it. After that, we then got Greg makes his appearance.
Yes, and she, obviously, we and she and everyone is like, well, Greg has gotten in, and there he is, and he's been killing everyone. So what does she use? Because she really injures him, doesn't she?
Yeah, even I've not written it down, but yeah, she does injure him.
Like I
She hits
thought
him in
he
the head
was.
with something.
I thought he was done for. No, I swear she like stabs him with something. 'Cause it was
Possibly.
really like.
Yeah.
Oh, hasn't she got? Yeah, she's got like a meat hook thing because she
That's
goes
it,
to
yeah,
hide
meat hook,
in the
yeah.
hanger area. She gets one of those hook things and she
Puts it
hooks
between her
him
fingers, yeah.
in the chest, and he's down. And
So
then
more ultimate gore, and then she's kind of in hysterics. But then, Bill's been hammered in the head previously by Greg
he
outside.
survived.
He has survived, and he's like, I'm going to call the police. Everything's going to be okay. But he is acting a little bit strange.
And he's got blood all over his hands.
Got blood over his hands, and because he's been comforting Jennifer, while he walks to go and supposedly go and call the police, he's constantly looking back at her like, She feels herself, and she notices that she's got the blood on her from what he has been doing previously. She catches on. Instead of keeping it to herself, she screams out loud. This obviously alarms Bill. Bill then comes after her. He's like walking over all of the checkouts and things like this to get to her.
Yeah.
And she's running after her and stuff like this. While she's hiding and things like this, obviously Bill goes out of shot. When he comes back into shot, he decides to lay on the floor and Dan is still alive.
Yeah.
So we see Dan's head come out of the side of an aisle, and it's like, "Hey, Jennifer, help me!" But as she gets close to it, turns out that Bill has decapitated Dan and put his head onto his hand and is using it like a puppet.
Yeah, not actually possible physiologically, but very effective.
He's got his hand stuck up Dan's neck.
Puppet master.
Stuck up Dan's neck. He's completely lost it because now he's chasing after Jennifer.
Yeah.
And in one hand he's got, like I said, Dan's head stuck on him, and in the other hand he's eating a sandwich.
And this ties in because he told a story really early on
Yeah.
to the whole
sandwich
crew
tale.
who was about like, oh yeah, this murderer who was walking down the street with the severed head in one hand and the hamburger in the other, and he's like, hey, look what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And he lets slip that basically the reason he's doing this is because, this store, as he said, is his life, and
His home
he
away
wasn't
from home.
he wasn't going to let Dan just sell it, and he couldn't leave any witnesses.
Yeah, Jennifer asked him, well, why did you have to kill everybody? And like you say, yeah, he's like, I didn't want anyone getting in my way and stopping me no matter what. So the only way to guarantee that is to off everybody. Luckily for Jennifer, bad boy Greg, has survived this hooking to the face or the chest, wherever he takes it. And he's here to save the day. Oh, in between all this as well, I think some guy has come to deliver some bread outside.
Yeah.
And Bill has managed to get himself outside because, he's got the keys, much like Ghostface in Scream when he's walking around the car with Neve Campbell in it. And I'm not sure if it was slightly before this or slightly after, but when bad boy Greg, has come to supposedly save the day, he's got into another scuffle with Bill, but Bill has Dan's head and he decides to beat Greg with Dan's severed head. He just beats him everywhere.
Him with the head.
Yeah.
And he takes him down with it. That was, again, it's like such dark humour, but it was funny.
I'm not sure if I've seen anyone be beaten by a severed head before either. So another kind of first. This movie was full of inventive kills and gallows humour. Full of gallows humour. So now Jen, she manages to get herself out of the supermarket.
That's it. Greg is like, I got in through the bathroom window. That's how you'll get out.
So she gets out there. She manages to run to a phone booth. Remember phone booths? She gets to the phone booth and she calls the police saying that I'm being attacked. I need you to get here. As she's about to finish the call, Bill comes out and he's like slamming away at the phone booth.
Yeah, I mean, I think he had an axe or something with him because he smashes in the side of it and then he starts just like pushing it and it falls over and he's like, she crawls out the side whilst he's crawling in the front.
Yeah.
And
Jen gets into the parking lot. She actually manages to stab Bill. So she's managed to stab Bill and Greg then also gets Bill. Jen manages to call the cops, but then, so they call the cops and we've got Bill in the phone booth kind of like on the floor, injured from the stab wound. And we got Jen and Greg kind of waiting. And then who turns up? Officer Bruce Campbell shows up, along with Officer Lawrence Bender, producer of, Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, Inglourious Basterds, Kill Bill 2. That's what he's doing now, or was doing, 20 years ago. Here he is with Officer Bruce Campbell. And they've noticed, obviously, Bill on the floor injured. So they decide to put Jennifer and Greg in cuffs. And they're being pretty physical with them, aren't they?
Well, they obviously have like essentially decided that they are the murderers.
They are the murderers, and then you've got Bill kind of like there, they did it all. They killed them, and then he's kind of like laughing to himself.
Yeah.
And it pretty much ends on Jennifer like screaming, ah, because they're going to be taken away to the clink. Bill's gotten away with it all because there's no pre-CCTV. You can't just go back and look at the video footage. And that's another thing that I really enjoyed was the not happy ending. Bill's going to get away with it all and carry on living his dream, running an independent supermarket which sells kaboom cereal.
Maybe.
Great stuff. Very enjoyable stuff.
It was such a fun movie.
Absolutely. It's a fun hour and 25 minutes.
Yeah, even like, I would say the beginning, like, it's kind of slow build up almost. Once you get the Greg thing, you get a lot of just them doing their job sort of, but I still wasn't bored at all.
No.
Like you said, all the characters are enjoyable.
And the shot selection as well was also
The shots
very
were
good.
so creative.
Just the setting being a nighttime supermarket, really good. And yeah, seeing Sam Raimi, Ted Raimi, all these people, Scott Spiegel directing, it's just fun as a uber horror fan to see all of these legends come together and make something like this. Also, we've got everybody smoking in the movie as well. Always love a bit of smoking
Inside,
in films.
in a supermarket.
Yeah, real camaraderie. This is what horror should be about. There are no kind of like... Well, I guess there are no kind of directors like this anymore. I just despise most of them. A bunch of pussy directors who wouldn't dream of making...
That's too nice a description.
A movie like this, would they?
No.
You know, and what's also crazy to me is consider the way that the movie looks, right? This movie, also Edge of the Axe, and to some extent Puppet Master. We are only about 5.5 years from Scream beginning to shoot. Because it came out in 96, but it was shot in 95. This was all 89.
Yeah.
It's crazy how it's... what the switch is in terms of... I guess you could say maybe sophistication in terms of the way that the sleekness of it all, the way that the actual images are presented, the way that the people are dressing. Because it's still quite dated, even though this is 89. So we're talking about the end of the 80s. Mm-hmm. We're right on the cusp of the 90s. But it's all of them were still uber 80s, weren't they?
Yeah, and you could see all the like grain in the film and all of that.
Yeah, which certainly added to Edge of the Axe and Intruder, especially, I'd say.
I felt like it was more obvious in Puppet Master, and it made it seem older than that. Like there were points when I was like, "Is this like late 70s?" Or because I didn't know that these were from 89.
Yeah, all three of them, and yeah, I do think that Edge of the Axe and Intruder looks older than 89, and I think it actually benefits the film for it. Intruder especially looks like an early 80s Friday the 13th movie, the way that the images come through and stuff. So I'd highly recommend both Edge of the Axe and Intruder.
A really small little detail from Intruder that I noticed as a girl, and it didn't take away from it, but I was like, oh, okay, interesting, was that our main girl...
in Intruder,
Jennifer, she had, like, uber 80s makeup, right, for most of the films. You get, like, the blush right there, you get all the way up to the eyebrows, like, eyeshadow and stuff, and a bit of lipstick. When she was supposed to be a bit more, like, harassed at the end, they didn't put any makeup on her. Like, suddenly the eyeshadow was gone and all of this, and I was like, that's so random. And I think I only noticed because I'd specifically, like, peeped how 80s her makeup was earlier in the film.
Something else worth mentioning, Scotty Spiegel, writer and director, fake Shemp, he stars, I found out, as a character called Joe Pornofsky. with Ivan Raimi, the third Raimi brother, in a movie called Nude Bowling Party, starring Jacqueline Lavelle, Loretta, from Head of the Family. Lovely, sexy, fine Loretta. And the premise of the movie is, I think it was 2 models, 2 dancers, face off at bowling, and they gradually get down to just their socks and rented shoes.
Oh, dear Lord. I
read a review, by the way, and some guy said that it earned a place in his heart, so it must be good.
Nude Bowling Party. Are you sure you haven't seen it?
No, but I want to know. I have to see Nude Bowling Party.
Can I also say that Joe Pornofsky would have been a much better name than Joseph Brownstein. If you're going to change it.
He could have adopted just Joe Pornofsky for his erotica movies. Yeah, and just kept the Jose Ramon Lazar, whatever it was.
You got to say it one more time.
For that, I'm not sure I even got it right. I just put together 3 Spanish names. And then we also, that guy, Joseph Brownstein / Mr. Lazar, says that Edge of the Axe is by far the worst movie he ever made. So
people aren't always the best judges of their own work.
Probably not, but I think it was also his first movie. In horror, anyway. Maybe not in erotica. Maybe we should check out some of his erotica now, because if his horror is that good, I can only imagine how good his erotica is. And if he's talking about tartars this much in horror, how much is he talking about it in erotica? I'll leave you with that.